What is parkour? I originally thought it looked something like this. After looking up gyms near me, one result popped up: Fusion Parkour. I called the owner, Nathan Fleming, and after a brief conversation, he said I could start a 3-week trial with the gym. So I decided to take him up on his offer and give it a shot. I had been looking for something new to implement into my workout routine because honestly, lifting weights isn't the most exhilarating activity on the planet. You're lifting things up, you're putting it down, you're seeing your numbers go up, but ultimately it gets stagnant over time and it just loses its lust. So I was ready to give something new a chance. And I always liked the opportunity to try out new things. It was something that I always really liked about myself, my willingness to kind of try new things without really being afraid of how I look doing it. And it's always helped me with my mental health, trying these new things and exercising, so maybe this would end up being good for me. When the day rolled around that I would be going to Fusion for my first class, and I got in the car and I started my drive over there, I had so many questions I was asking myself about what on earth I was getting myself into. What even is parkour? Is my body gonna hold up? What does this gym do differently than others similar to it in order to pull its clients in? And what the hell is a parkour gym doing here in central New York? Not knowing much about parkour, I always thought that these classes would be held in a large warehouse or even partially outdoors, with lots of open space to navigate through obstacles safely. When I got to the location, it was honestly a lot smaller than I expected, and the location itself was not nearly where I would have expected it to be. I came in and spectated a class that was specifically designed for kids, and then later participated in the adult class, which started right after. Watching the kids go through their class before I actually got on the floor and started practicing, and seeing the way they interact with the instructors, it was really easy, for me at least, to put the pieces together about why people consistently kept coming back. The employees are selfless, and the gym really wants to be a home for all kids, teens, and adults who may be outcast in normal day-to-day life, while also teaching them a new skill set that could be valuable, along with exercising, which is important for everyone to do. One element that I was surprised to hear about upon arriving was that Fusion didn't identify themselves as a gym. They identified themselves as a school, which I thought was particularly interesting and something that would be a major drawing point to Fusion's consumers.
I'm Nathan Fleming. I'm the owner and head instructor at Fusion Parkour. I knew that being able to run Fusion as a school and not as a gym, where we have instructors and not coaches, where we have teachers who are directly involved in seeing students overcome confidence issues and things of that nature. It's so much more rewarding, and because the creative movement aspect of what we do is always changing and evolving, there's no ceiling, there's no limit to what we can do, and there's also no expected end date. There's never a gold medal or a black belt that these kids are chasing. There's always new challenges and new opportunities for them, so we can follow them through their whole lives, really.
By identifying as a school, patience was of key importance for all instructors to have, using individualized learning for each student as a key component to the school.
I'm AJ Rochetta, and I am a parkour instructor here at Fusion Parkour. So Fusion prides itself in the individualized program and curriculum that we have for each student. So each student is going to have their own strengths and weaknesses that we are going to help build up, and then also build up their weaknesses as well and make them strengths. So there are many, many instances where there's going to be a student who just doesn't understand, grasp, get a certain concept that we're trying to teach. A lot of it is just about having that patience and that understanding that everybody is going to learn something differently, and you just have to keep throwing everything that you possibly can at them just to make sure that they get all that piece of information.
The style of education has had its positive effects on students, being a main reason why they keep coming back and trying to take classes.
Hi, my name's Emily Johnson, and I've been a student here at Fusion Parkour for about 3 years. I wasn't very athletically inclined. I could barely walk a mile without being out of breath. Last thing I did athletically was maybe sophomore year of college, so 2014. I'm constantly afraid of getting hurt, so I tend to approach things very slowly compared to others. Some people here will just fly over the vaults, and meanwhile they're like slowly inching and whatnot. And like I said, that kind of like day one anxiety has never really gone away from me, but that's just how I kind of am as a person. I get very anxious over things that I don't think I'm doing right. But obviously that hasn't stopped me in terms of the level up and being able to have that more individualized curriculum.
After I finished up the adult class later that night, I went back to my car and broke down exactly how I was feeling. So I just finished up my first class at Fusion Parkour, and I could confidently say I worked up a heavy sweat during that workout. When I walked in, I had to sign a waiver. I learned how to properly fall, learned how to protect myself in case of any sort of mishap while I'm trying out obstacles today. Then we kind of went into some group vaults just to warm ourselves up, and then we went into some technique. And I definitely did not think that's what we were going to be doing tonight, but it was a pretty intense class. And what was really nice about it was there was an instructor constantly watching myself and another new student to make sure that our technique was good and that we weren't going to do any things that would turn to habits and then ultimately hurt ourselves. So honestly, I didn't expect much going into this. I didn't know there was any parkour scene here in Central New York, but I have to say confidently, Fusion has something special, and what makes them special is the fact that all the students that I saw tonight were helping each other out, sharing a laugh, and ultimately doing what Fusion bills itself as, building a family, learning through experience, and also helping each other out when there's a chance. I thank Nathan Fleming for letting me come in and see his facility and try things out firsthand, and I would recommend it to anybody who is willing to try out something new like myself and ultimately is going to be fearless. So that's all from me, and I hope you enjoyed my little story. Thanks.